Most people over 60 think poor sleep is just part of aging, but it's not. Your body is still capable of deep, natural rest if you give it what it truly needs. These 7 foods can transform the way you sleep, but only if you eat them the right way. Stay till the end. The last one is the secret most doctors never tell, and it changes everything. Have you ever truly looked at one of these? To hold it in your hand and feel its texture, its weight. It is a small, wrinkled vessel of immense potential. Its form, as ancient wisdom has often pointed out, closely resembles the human brain. This is not a mere coincidence of nature. It is an invitation to understand. We see a food, but what we should see is a key. The shell protects a precious and powerful essence, and to access it requires patience. It requires a gentle, focused pressure. It cannot be rushed. How often in our lives do we rush? Do we apply brute force to our problems, to our bodies, to our minds, trying to crack open a solution, only to find the contents shattered and useless? The preparation of this food is the first lesson in how to consume it. You do not tear open a bag with your teeth in a moment of distraction. You sit, you take the nutcracker, you find the seam, and with a slow, deliberate act of will, you open it to reveal what is inside. This act itself begins the process of calming the mind. It is a single-pointed focus. The energy required to do this is minimal, but the awareness required is total. This is the first step. When you place it in your mouth, do not immediately chew and swallow. What is the texture? It is firm yet oily. It is substantial. As you begin to break it down, a particular type of richness is released. These are the oils, the healthy fats, that our own brain so desperately needs to function not just with speed, but with clarity and calm. We live in a world that fears fat, that fears richness, because we associate it with sluggishness. But there is a difference between the heavy processed fats that dull the senses and the pure elemental fats that ground our energy. This food provides a grounding. It tells the body there is fuel, there is substance, you are safe. You do not need to operate from a place of panic or scarcity. When the body receives this message, the frantic energy of the day begins to subside. It is a signal to the very core of your being that the hunt is over. The striving can cease. Consider the tree from which it comes. A walnut tree is not a plant of haste. It is a creature of seasons, of decades. It stands in quiet strength, drawing resources from the deep earth and the open sky, and concentrating them into these small packages of vitality. When you eat this food, you are not just consuming protein and omega-3s, you are partaking in that process of slow, deliberate, concentrated creation. You are aligning yourself with its energy. So how to eat it? Not as a handful thrown back while watching a screen, but as a ritual. Perhaps 1 hour before you wish to begin your process of sleep, you take 5 of them. You crack each one yourself. You chew each one 30, 40, 50 times until it has become a warm, nourishing cream in your mouth. You taste it. You feel its substance. You thank the tree. You acknowledge the process. In this way, it is no longer a food to make you sleepy. It becomes a meditation that invites the possibility of rest. It prepares the mind and the body, the temple, for a state of deep quietude, making what follows not a struggle, but a natural consequence. This is the cultivation we seek. The modern approach is to find a pill, a hack, an external force that will shut down the system. This is a violent act. The way of wisdom is to cultivate the internal conditions for peace to arise naturally. This food, understood and consumed with this intention, is one of the most powerful tools for creating that internal condition. It teaches us that strength and stillness are partners. It nourishes the very organ of our consciousness and asks for nothing in return but our presence. So tonight, do not simply eat. Instead, engage in a practice of presence, using this humble nut as your focal point. Notice how the simple act of intentional consumption changes the energy within you. Notice how the desire for distraction lessens and a capacity for simple beingness grows. This is the first step toward reclaiming your night, and in doing so, reclaiming your life. The power is not in the nut, you see. The power is in the awareness you bring to it. It is a conduit for your own intention to find peace, fleeting presence. There is a color, the deep red that borders on black, that speaks to a certain primal part of our being. It is the color of blood, of life force, but it is also the color of the setting sun, of the end of the day. This small fruit holds that color. It holds that duality. To look at a bowl of them is to see condensed twilight. They are not available all year round, not in their fresh and most potent form. They are a gift of a particular season, a short window of time. Their very existence is a lesson in impermanence and the importance of being present for the gifts that are offered to us. If we are not paying attention, we will miss them. Their season will pass and the opportunity will be lost. How much like sleep is this? It is a window of opportunity offered to us each night, a chance to restore and reset. Yet we are often not present for it. We miss the signs, we ignore the invitation, until the window has closed and we are left in the harsh light of our own restlessness. This fruit is a teacher of timing and presence. It contains within its soft flesh a substance that our own body uses to signal the coming of darkness. Our pineal gland produces this hormone to regulate our cycle of sleep and wakefulness, to tell every cell in our body that it is time to shift from outward activity to inward restoration. Yet our modern world is a conspiracy against this natural signal. We flood our eyes with artificial blue light, the color of midday, long after the sun has vanished. We stimulate our minds with information and conflict. We send every possible signal to our body that it is still daytime, that we must remain vigilant, active, and ready. And then we wonder why we cannot sleep. We have drowned out the subtle, natural whisper of our own biology. Consuming this fruit, especially in its pure, unsweetened juice form, is like reattuning a sensitive instrument. It is a way of reintroducing that whisper to a body that has become deaf to it. The mistake is to see it as a sedative. It is not a hammer that knocks you unconscious. That is not the goal. True sleep is not a state of unconsciousness, but a different state of consciousness altogether. This fruit helps to recalibrate the gateway to that state. So how do we use it? Not as a magic bullet. An hour or two before sleep, you prepare a small glass of its pure juice, perhaps warmed slightly to make it more comforting, more soothing to the system. You do not drink it like water. You sit with it. You look at the color. You inhale the subtle, sweet aroma. It is a gentle fragrance, not an overpowering one. You take a small sip. You hold it in your mouth. You taste the complexity, the sweetness, yes, but also the tartness, the deep, earthy undertone. You are tasting a moment in time, the product of a tree and a season. You are consciously, intentionally giving your body the signal that it has forgotten how to hear. You are saying, with this action, the day is done. The external work is finished. Now the internal work begins. This simple ritual communicates on a level far deeper than biochemistry. It is an act of self-compassion. It is an acknowledgement of your own natural rhythms. For those whose minds are particularly busy, whose thoughts race in circles, this fruit's essence seems to have a particular affinity for calming that sort of heat in the mind. The tartness cuts through the fog of worry. The deep red essence feels as though it is nourishing the blood, calming the heart. The sweetness is not a stimulating sweetness, but a deep, satisfying sweetness that speaks of completion. In this way, you are not just drinking juice. You are participating in a ceremony of dusk. You are aligning yourself with the great cosmic rhythm of day and night. You are honoring the need for rest, not as a weakness, but as an essential part of a balanced and powerful life. You are learning to be present for the gifts of the season, both outside in the world and inside your own being. Humble grounding. In our quest for complexity, we often overlook the profound power of the simple. We search for exotic supplements, for complicated protocols, when the answer is often found in the most humble of ingredients. This small golden grain is one such example. It is a food of the earth, a food of peasants, of monks, of those who understand that true strength does not come from extravagance, but from a deep and abiding connection to that which is foundational. To eat this food is to ground yourself. In many traditions, it is cooked for a long time with an abundance of water until it breaks down completely and becomes a sort of porridge, a congee. This process of slow cooking, this transformation from a hard grain to a soft, warm, easily digestible meal is itself a part of the medicine. The body, when it is preparing for sleep, does not want to be burdened with difficult work. Digestion is one of the most energy-intensive processes the body performs. If at night you eat a heavy meal full of complex proteins and fats, you are asking your body to go to work, not to rest. All of its energy, its chi, will be diverted to the stomach, and the mind will remain agitated, the limbs restless. The spirit cannot settle if the body is in turmoil, but this food, cooked into a gentle congee, is pre-digested in a way. It makes almost no demand on the system. It is like a warm blanket for your internal organs. It says to the body, there is no work to be done, all is well, you may be at peace. This feeling of inner peace, of the absence of struggle, is the necessary prerequisite for the mind to begin its own process of settling. The mind and body are not separate. You cannot command the mind to be still if the body is at war with a piece of steak. You must first pacify the physical, and then the non-physical can follow. This grain is the great pacifier. It is neutral, it is warm, it is nourishing without being stimulating. How to prepare it? It is a practice in patience. You take a small amount of the grain, you wash it, and you place it in a pot with many times its volume in water. You bring it to a boil, and then you lower the heat to a gentle simmer. And you wait. You can leave it for an hour, 2 hours, stirring occasionally. The air will fill with a gentle, wholesome aroma. This is not the aggressive smell of frying or roasting. It is the smell of nourishment itself. The act of preparing it becomes a moving meditation. You are not trying to achieve something. You are simply allowing a process of transformation to unfold. This teaches the mind a valuable lesson. You are creating the conditions for something to happen rather than trying to force it. When it is ready, it is a simple, creamy, golden substance. You can eat it plain, allowing its subtle, nutty sweetness to come through. Or you might add 1 or 2 of the other foods we have discussed, perhaps a few goji berries or a single chopped jujube date. But the intention is to keep it simple. This is a food to be eaten an hour or so before bed, not in a large quantity, but a small, warm bowl. As you eat it, you focus on the sensation of warmth spreading from your center outwards. You feel the body calming, the digestive system relaxing. It is a profoundly grounding experience. In a world that pulls our energy up into our heads with constant thought and worry and screen time, this food pulls the energy back down into the earth, into the core of our being. It anchors us. It reminds us that we are physical beings connected to the soil. For anyone who feels scattered, anxious, uncentered, a small bowl of this humble porridge in the evening can feel like coming home. It is a return to simplicity. It is an act of profound kindness to a system that we so often abuse with stress and stimulation. It doesn't force sleep. It creates a landscape of inner calm so fertile that sleep cannot help but grow there. Spirit soothing. There is a concept in the wisdom traditions of the East, a concept of the Shen. The Shen can be translated as spirit or mind, but it is more than that. It is the light in our eyes, the quality of our consciousness, our capacity for joy and connection and wisdom. When our Shen is disturbed, we feel anxious, we cannot settle, our thoughts are chaotic, and we sleep poorly, often waking with a start in the middle of the night. When our Shen is calm and rooted, we feel a sense of inner peace, our mind is clear, and we can rest deeply, connecting with a deeper part of ourselves. The day-to-day pressures of our lives, the worries, the frustrations, the constant stream of information, all conspire to disturb the Shen. They cause it to float upwards, unanchored, leaving us feeling disconnected and agitated. There are many practices to calm and root the Shen: meditation, breathing, gentle movement. But there are also foods that have a natural affinity for this process. This humble, red-brown fruit is perhaps the most famous. This is the jujube date. It is not the same as the palm dates you might be more familiar with. It has a different texture, a different kind of sweetness. It is a sweetness that is understood by the body not as a jolt of sugar, a spike of energy, but as a deep, profound nourishment. It is a sweetness that soothes. It is said in these ancient traditions that the sweet flavor tonifies the spleen, the organ system responsible for digestion and the processing of not just food, but information and emotion. A weak spleen leads to overthinking, to worry, to pensiveness that circles back on itself. A calm and strong spleen allows the mind to be at ease. This fruit's gentle sweetness directly nourishes this system, helping to calm the cycle of worry. Furthermore, it is said to directly nourish the heart blood and calm the spirit. Imagine your spirit as a flame. When it is agitated, it flickers wildly, casting strange shadows and consuming its fuel too quickly. This fruit is like a gentle hand cupped around the flame, protecting it from the wind, allowing it to burn steadily, brightly, and peacefully. The way to use it is with intention. You can make a simple tea by simmering 2 or 3 of the dried fruits in water for 15 or 20 minutes. As they simmer, they will soften and plump up, releasing their essence into the water. The resulting tea is a beautiful amber color with a gentle, calming sweetness. As you drink it, you can also eat the rehydrated fruit, which becomes soft and comforting. The act of preparing this tea is again a ritual. It is a moment to pause. You are not just making a drink, you are preparing medicine for your spirit. You do this in the evening when the work of the day is done. You sit with your warm cup, you feel its heat in your hands, you inhale the gentle aroma. With each sip, you can set the intention, may my spirit be calm, may my mind be at peace, may I be rooted and nourished. This is so much more powerful than simply swallowing a capsule. You are engaging all of your senses in the process of healing and rebalancing. For those who suffer from a particularly restless sleep, filled with too many dreams, or a feeling of anxiety upon waking, this simple tea can be transformative. It is not that it stops you from dreaming, but it can help to quiet the chaotic, stressful nature of those dreams. It helps the Shen to properly anchor itself for the night, so that the sleep state can be one of true restoration, not just another form of mental agitation. It is a simple, inexpensive, and gentle tool. It does not force the body into a state of submission. It coaxes the spirit back home. It nourishes the very root of our consciousness and reminds us that peace is not something to be aggressively pursued, but something to be gently, lovingly cultivated within our own being. It is a sweet reminder that we have the power to soothe our own spirit. Heart fire. The great metaphor of the lotus is one of the most powerful in all of Eastern philosophy. It is a flower of exquisite beauty, of purity and perfection that grows out of the mud. It rises through murky dark water to blossom untouched in the clear air and sunlight. This is a metaphor for our own consciousness. Out of the mud and the murk of our daily struggles, our attachments, our confusion, we have the potential to raise our awareness to a state of clarity and peace. This process of transformation is the spiritual path itself. Within this incredible plant, the seeds hold a particular kind of energy. They are known in traditional systems for a very specific purpose: to calm the heart fire. What is this heart fire? It is not a literal flame. It is the physiological manifestation of emotional and mental agitation. It is the feeling of restlessness in the chest, the anxiety that makes the heart beat too fast. It is the inner heat of frustration, irritability, and desire that prevents the mind from settling. When the heart fire is blazing, sleep is impossible. It is a state of internal alarm. These seeds have a cooling, calming nature, but they are also astringent, meaning they have a consolidating, anchoring quality. They don't just put out the fire, they help to gather the scattered energy and anchor it, preventing the fire from flaring up again. Their flavor is very subtle, slightly sweet but mostly neutral. Their power is not in a strong taste, but in a deep, systemic action. They clear the excess heat from the heart system, and at the same time, they are said to calm the spirit and tonify the kidneys, which in this system of medicine are the root of our deepest energy reserves and our willpower. The heart and the kidneys have a special relationship, fire and water. When they are in balance, the fire of the heart warms the water of the kidneys, and the water of the kidneys rises to cool and control the fire of the heart. When we are stressed and exhausted, the water of the kidneys becomes deficient, and it can no longer control the heart fire, which blazes upwards, disturbing our mind and our sleep. This food helps to restore that delicate balance. To use them, you would typically find them dried. They need to be soaked and cooked, often as part of a soup or a congee, along with other gentle, nourishing ingredients like the humble millet we discussed, or the jujube date. They become soft and slightly mealy in texture, easily digested and absorbed. The key is that they become part of a larger, intentional meal of calm. Preparing them requires forethought, a slowing down. You are not just adding an ingredient, you are consciously working to balance the elemental forces within your own body. As you eat a soup or a porridge containing these seeds, you can bring your awareness to your chest, to the center of your being. You can visualize a cooling, calming mist descending, pacifying the agitation, soothing the overworked muscle of your heart, and calming the electric flicker of your thoughts. You are using the subtle energy of this plant as an ally in your own internal cultivation. This is a profound shift in perspective. Food is not just fuel, it is information, it is energy, it is a key that can unlock different states within our own being. When we feel that internal buzzing agitation, that wired and tired feeling where the body is exhausted but the mind refuses to be quiet, that is the sign of heart fire blazing out of control. It is a very common condition in our modern world. Our culture encourages this fire. It feeds it with ambition, with conflict, with constant stimulation. To use a food like this is to make a conscious choice to go against that tide. It is to say, I choose peace, I choose balance, I choose to cool the fire and nourish the water. It is an act of self-mastery. It is tending the garden of your own body and mind, pulling the weeds of agitation and nurturing the roots of deep, restorative tranquility. Vital essence. Within the library of ancient remedies, there are certain substances that are held in the highest esteem. They are not seen as mere foods or simple medicines, but as tonics for life itself. They are believed to replenish something fundamental, something that is lost through the process of living, through stress, through exertion, through the passage of time. This is the concept of Jing, or vital essence. Jing is like the wax of a candle. It is the deep foundational reserve of our vitality. When our Jing is strong, we are resilient, our will is powerful, our bones are strong, and we have a deep reservoir of energy. When our Jing is depleted, we feel exhausted on a profound level, we age more quickly, and we become susceptible to fear and a lack of drive. A busy, stressful life, combined with inadequate rest, is a primary way in which we leak this precious vital essence. This small, vibrant red berry is one of the most revered substances for preserving and replenishing Jing. This is the Goji berry. In the West, it has become known as a superfood for its antioxidant properties, but this is a very superficial understanding of its power. Its true value, as understood for thousands of years, is its ability to nourish and restore on a much deeper level. It is said to brighten the eyes, which is a poetic way of saying it improves clarity of vision, both physical and mental. This is because it has a strong affinity for the liver system, which in this medicinal framework stores the blood and is responsible for the smooth flow of qi and emotion throughout the body. When the liver is stagnant or depleted from stress and frustration, our vision can blur, our eyes feel dry, and we become irritable. Sleep is disturbed because the spirit has no place to rest peacefully if the blood is deficient and the energy is stuck. This berry nourishes the liver blood, which in turn anchors the spirit at night, but its action goes even deeper. It nourishes the yin, the cooling, moistening, and grounding aspect of our energy. The yin is what allows for deep rest and recovery. The fire and activity of our modern lives burns up our yin, leaving us feeling dry, hot, and restless. This is that feeling of being overheated at night, of having a thirst that cannot be quenched. This small berry gently replenishes that yin, that inner coolness and moisture, creating the right internal environment for peaceful sleep. It's like watering a dry, parched garden so that new life can grow. So how to incorporate it? Its genius lies in its simplicity and versatility. You can simply eat a small handful of the dried berries, perhaps half an hour before bed. Chew them slowly. Their taste is unique, a little sweet, a little tart, a little savory. It is a complex flavor profile that speaks to its complex actions. They are not overwhelmingly sweet, so they do not spike your energy. Alternatively, and very commonly, they are added to teas. A few berries dropped into a cup of the chrysanthemum tea we will discuss, or simmered with the jujube dates, creates a powerful synergy. The combination becomes more than the sum of its parts. As you consume them, your intention is key. You are not just eating dried fruit. You are consciously replenishing your deepest reserves. You are honoring the life you have lived and restoring the energy you have spent. You are saying to your body on a cellular level, "Thank you. Here is the deep nourishment you need to rebuild and restore." It is a profound act of replenishing your foundation. By taking care of your jing, you are not just preparing for a better night's sleep. You are investing in your long-term health, your resilience, and your capacity to live a vibrant, fully engaged life. You are taking care of the very root of your vitality. Mindful unfolding. Watch what happens when you place this delicate dried flower into a cup of hot water. At first, it is a tight, closed bud. It seems small and insignificant, but as the warmth of the water envelops it, it begins to open. Slowly, gracefully, petal by petal, it unfurls, revealing its intricate center. It blooms again, right before your eyes. This is not just a cup of tea, it is a teaching. This flower, the chrysanthemum, is showing you the process you wish to happen within your own mind. Our mind, after a long day of focus, of stress, of looking at screens, becomes tight. It becomes a closed bud. We hold tension in our forehead, behind our eyes, in our jaw. We try to force it to relax, but it remains clenched. This tea shows us another way, the way of gentle, warm, mindful unfolding. The preparation itself is the beginning of the meditation. You are not ripping open a tea bag. You are witnessing a small, natural miracle. This flower has been used for centuries to clear heat from the body, particularly heat that rises to the head. This is the heat of eye strain from too much computer work. It's the heat of a tension headache, of frustration, of the kind of irritability that comes from mental exhaustion. In the language of traditional medicine, it is often said to pacify the liver wind, which is a dramatic name for that internal feeling of jitteriness, of twitching eyes or muscles, of a mind that cannot be still. It gently cools and settles this upwardly flaring, agitating energy, allowing a sense of calm and clarity to descend. The eyes, which are seen as the opening of the liver system, feel the benefit most directly. They feel soothed, relaxed. The strain of the day begins to melt away, and as the tension behind the eyes releases, the whole mind begins to follow. It can finally let go of its tight grip on the world. The experience of drinking this tea is one of great subtlety and beauty. The aroma is not overpowering. It is a light, floral, honey-like scent that is inherently calming to the nervous system. The taste is similarly gentle, slightly sweet, slightly bitter, and very refreshing. You would prepare it by placing a few dried blossoms in a glass or a cup, pouring hot water over them, and simply watching. Let it steep for a few minutes. Watch the dance of the unfolding petals. This moment of watching is crucial. It is a forced pause. It breaks the momentum of the day. You cannot rush it. You are practicing the art of allowing. Then you drink it slowly. You feel the warm, fragrant liquid. You imagine it rising to your head, not with force, but like a gentle mist, cooling the overactive circuits of your brain, soothing the tired muscles of your eyes. You are creating a ritual of release. So often we carry the entire day with us into our beds. We carry the arguments, the deadlines, the worries. We carry the visual imprint of the screens we have been staring at. This simple cup of tea is a ceremony of demarcation. It is the boundary line. With this ritual, you are saying, the day, with all its heat and activity, is now complete. I now release it. It washes the residue of the day away, not just from your palate, but from your mind. It prepares the sensory portals, the eyes and the mind, for the quiet darkness of rest. It doesn't drug you or force you into sleep. It simply creates such a clear, cool and peaceful inner state that sleep becomes the most natural and welcome next step. The mind, no longer clenched in a tight bud, can finally unfold into the vast open space of deep, restorative rest. You see, it was never truly about the 7 foods. It was about the 7 invitations. Each one is an invitation to shift your awareness from a mindset of consumption to a mindset of cultivation. The walnut is an invitation to patient focus. The cherry, an invitation to be present with nature's rhythms. The millet, an invitation to humble grounding. Each is a tool, a partner in a daily practice of reclaiming your own inner territory. Sleep is not a surrender or a state of unconsciousness we fall into. It is a state of deep, powerful connection we must intentionally cultivate. By bringing this awareness to the simple act of eating, you transform your kitchen into a place of training and your evening meal into a profound spiritual practice. You are not fixing a problem, you are mastering yourself. This is the path to sleeping like never before, and in doing so, to living like never before. This video just changed my entire relationship with food. I used to see eating before bed as just fuel or something to avoid. The idea of food as a practice of intention and a ceremony of dusk is so beautiful. I have that heart fire and restless mind almost every night. I'm going to try the Jujube date tea tonight, not as a fix, but as an act of kindness to my own spirit. Thank you for this wisdom.